And I am raw to the bone. For all those that want to have the YouTube experience, the podcast experience, come on to YouTube. Follow me. Link is in my bio. Good morning, y'all. Happy hump day. Happy Wednesday. Normally, today is the day for a asshole and opinions day, opinion and assholes day. I call it that because everyone has an opinion, everybody has an asshole. It's the same thing. But we are on topic today. All right. We tried to be on topic yesterday and we missed the mark on that, but we did have a great show and we learned something from each other. And so today we're going to hop back into the groove of things and talk about when did you experience your first loss of trust. All right. But in the meantime, between time, I'm going to start y'all out with some positive vibes as we get the show started. Because you know what I say, it's always going to be a what?
Wake up, really gonna rise in the sun.
Hey.
Get some good, some food in you.
Come on.
Step 3, be grow hard about what you want to be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Hey.
Wake up,
today's gonna be a good day. Good morning, Hillbilly. Good morning, Michael Robinson. Welcome from TikTok. Come on. Wake up. Today's gonna be a good day. Set your affirmations, aspirations. I got shit to do.
The aftermath of preparation.
Good food, good mood.
Blood in circulation.
One
One step at a time. Yeah, that's how you make it.
set a goal.
You control and the steps you take them. I try to pick
Pick one.
one thought, have some concentration.
And if I make a mistake, it's called education. I try to do this every day and call it replication. Yes! Come on, y'all. Whatever y'all got going on, whatever trials and tribulations you got going on, wake up. Today's gonna be a good day. Sit in your blessings. All right? Appreciate those. You have another day to get it right. Hey.
I think there's a reason though. Ups and downs, just like every different season.
Come on.
Sometimes I'm high,
Other times I'm barely breathing, y'all.
You always gotta fight and hide from the demons, yo. Negative thoughts are poison they ride.
Hey, get this
Full of
message.
thoughts, so here come the
Good
fire.
morning, Ghost.
I'll never stop unless I can swap.
All the bad for the good.
In my head when I'm lost.
Hey, what? So I'ma fake it till I make it. Positive vibes are overtaken.
I got patience.
One day at a time, that's how you operate a cadence. You grow, you show yourself a foundation. Stay away from all the shit that causes. Stay away from it. Cut those motherfuckers off.
Because the sensation.
I live
My life in my head like a narration.
Don't expect greatness through my best, man. I take it because I'm just out here trying. That's it. And that's the fuck all. I ain't perfect. You ain't perfect. None of us are perfect. We just out here. No judgment. Today's gonna be a good day. Come on. Today's gonna be a good day. What? Today's gonna be a good day. Give me them taps, those hearts on the screen, y'all, on TikTok. Hey. Thumbs up on YouTube as you coming in. Good morning, Cheryl Lee. Hey. Woo! You know, I'm in a good mood. I'm in a good mood today. I don't know why, but I fucks with y'all. That's one reason, right? And yesterday, we deep dived into a couple of things, and I walked away from that conversation and I really thought about it, about how Coffee with Friends is a show where we have open dialogue. We are honest I hope we are honest about who we are and how we feel, right? And who we are and how we feel is not always going to look the same to the next person, right? Our experiences and our journey and our walks through life is different, right? So how we speak, how we come across, the things we say might be different. And in some cases, might be offensive, right? And we're never going to escape that. But the one beauty, good morning, Reginaldo from Brazil. The one beauty of it all is this. We learn from each other, right? through corrective actions and expressing how we feel about the topics and the things that's said on this podcast, right? It's a learning experience. I was talking about how my best friend, when I first started hanging out with her, she used to reference West Indians as pootie, right? Everything was, oh, those pooties, this pooties, that pooties, right? And for years, I kept saying, don't do that, right? That's offensive. But when her and her family and friends are around, they be like, pootie this and pootie that and pootie, pootie, pootie. And I'll be like, yo, y'all, you can't do that, right? And years later, she thanked me for opening her eyes and broadening her thought process and having respect for other cultures and people, and understanding that sometimes, things that are said amongst yourself and your family and your friends may not come across offensive. But when you broaden your audience, some people, everybody's not going to think the same. But again, the beauty of it is acknowledging when the offense is there and correcting that action. I don't know what pootie means. It was just a word she used to describe West Indians, right? And so I continually want to thank y'all on this show. Even when difficult conversations like yesterday happened, we learned something. We learned something. Let me say. And correction, it wasn't a direct conversation. It went to Kenya. It was what Debbie said in side chat. She observed them saying what I said. Oh, okay, because I was like, somebody called her? The fuck? I still didn't like the convo was had about my comments instead of saying it directly to me. So I apologize for any confusion. Okay, thank you, Ghost. Because I was confused. I was sitting here like somebody fucking called your girlfriend. I was still baffled by that, but now I understand, so I just want to say, y'all, listen, in the future, just keep in mind that we're all different. All right. Oh, Ghost said his stepson's nickname is Pootie. Just keep in mind, y'all, that everybody is different, right? And so we all have triggers, and there are things that are offensive to some people that might not be offensive to others. And if we call them out, let's just acknowledge them and move on, right? And so it was a great learning experience, and I love y'all. I just want to emphasize on that, all right? Exactly, Cheryl Lee and Hillbilly. I agree with that 1000%. Some people might not agree with it. But again, this show is about unpacking traumas, having open and honest dialogue, right? None of us should be sorry for that, right? We're learning. We're learning. Okay? We are learning. All right? So come the fuck on in on this happy hump day. I'm going to get into the topic of I asked y'all a question last week. I'm going to go let me tell y'all something. Today's read is going to fucking fuck y'all up. It's going to sock it to y'all. I'm telling you. Today's positive read from Until Today, Jan Levon's on, it's going to mess y'all up today because we need this reading today. But before I get into this reading, I just want to remind y'all that the topic today is, when did you experience your first loss of trust, right? How do you think that plays out in your life as it stands today? What are some of the things you are doing to work on regaining that level of trust? Or do you even feel that or maybe you feel that it had no impact on your life? That's what we're going to talk about today, right? And of course, as a part of that, I'm going to give you my experience of my first day lost in trust. And I'm not going to be able to get it all out because it's a tough one. Right? It might take me to emotional places, but I am in my healing journey and I'm committed to this shit, right? And a part of me healing is being honest and open about the things that I'm struggling with, the things that I'm feeling internally, the things that hurt me and still hurt me to this day, right? Some people journal, some people go to therapy, some people do all of that together. Some people talk out loud on a podcast. All different types of therapy. This is one route for me. Okay? And so when did you experience your first loss of trust? Thank you, Corey. Okay? Right? When did you experience your first loss of trust? And who was that experience with? Think about that. Comment. I'll come back to the comments. For you guys on TikTok, if you want to be a part of the podcast experience, come on YouTube. Link is in my bio. Today is June 21st, Wednesday. June is the month of forgiveness. Forgive yourself and then others. June 21st. I am now willing to forgive myself for holding on to the need to be right. This is perfect fucking timing. The need to be right. There are some people you are never going to be right with. No matter what you say, how you say it, what you do or how you do it. There are people who are going to find something wrong with everything. This includes you, me, you. There are some people who can take what you say and twist it into something you did not say in order to be right. By the time you realize you are fighting a losing battle, it is too late. They are right and you feel wrong. You see, the challenge with being confronted by an I gotta be right person is they have a way of bringing out the I gotta be right in you. When you have the smallest glimmer of I've got to be right in your eyes, people detect it. Even when you couch your need in care or concern, those you approach recognize in you what they know about themselves. In response, they become as determined as you. They have a need to be right. They are not afraid to sacrifice you in pursuit of your own needs, of their own needs. Sorry. If you have the same need, somebody is going to go down hard. The need to be right is nothing more than the need for external validation. The conflict created when one need to be right person locks horns with another need to be right person is really a blessing in disguise. The one who can back down first without feeling they have lost anything is the one who is well on their way to self-acceptance, self-forgiveness, and self-love. Until today, you may not have been aware that you may still need external validation to feel good about yourself. Just for today, surrender. Drop your hands to your side. Take a deep breath. Ask yourself, what is it I believe is wrong with me or about me? Good morning, Mother. Answer the question, and you will never again need to be right. You will know when you are. Nothing else matters. Today, I am devoted to healing my need to be right. Baby, how many people on here can admit that they have a need to be right? I used to be that person. I'm being honest because I'm trying to heal. I don't know about y'all, but I got to be honest with myself in order to do better. I used to be her. When I say, okay, East Side from TikTok, let's be honest. Okay? I used to be her. When I say used to, okay, Ghost, being honest. Thank you. Right? Because a lot of motherfuckers won't admit that. Good morning, Angel. Who has the need to be right? I used to be that person. And I'm still struggling with that. I'm still struggling with that. But I am a work in progress. I'm working on myself because I have restrained myself in conversations. You hear what it says? Sometimes you got to put your hands to your side. and not give a fuck. Good morning, Deb. Not give a fuck if you are right. And that's where I'm at. See, I went through a phase where, I was with someone that always needed to be right. So nothing I said mattered. And I always felt defeated. I always felt like, damn, I live in the wrong. And then the argument would end with, okay, you're right, I'm wrong. I don't know shit. Toxic. Now, when I get into conversations with people that have a need to be right, yeah, I grind my teeth because I'm still working on myself, right? But I talk to myself and I say to myself, who gives a fuck? Who's right? Right? So I'm working on that. Do you have a need to be right? And how has that lent to healthy communication among your friends and family? Or has it been just a clusterfuck full of arguments because somebody needs to be right? Oh, mother! I done told y'all. My mama. I done told y'all about my mama, right? My mama joins my podcast. She's on here right now, right? And so, mama, you know what? Hillbilly, yes. Only ideologies have right answers. That's so true. Let me flip the screen so that TikTok don't think I'm talking to myself, since they took the dual option off. I don't know why they took the dual option off, but only ideologies have the right answers. So if you find yourself feeling the need to be right, and you find yourself in a constant battle and in a constant argument, just say to yourself, does it matter if they believe I'm right or not? Do I have to prove that I'm right? Johnny said, I used to need to be right, win arguments, but that brought more frustration in my life and I became hard to communicate with. That part. My ex, I didn't even want to speak to the motherfucker. Right? Because everything I said turned into like this battle of him needing to be right. And it triggered my need to be right. And it just made me completely fucking miserable to a point where I said, I don't even want to fucking talk to you. Literally, I didn't want to talk. Like, to talk to him upset me. Because a person that lives in a space of needing to be right at all times. Good morning, Sherilyn. Good morning, Mika. It's toxic. And it brings out the worst in me anyway. Right? And so I am working on the need to be right. I am. All right. And with that, we're going to go into today's topic, because today's topic is a good one. It's a deep one. As a matter of fact, I'm going to grab my notebook, because just in case I lose myself along the way, I might need to write something down. Okay. Now, today's topic is, when did you experience your first loss of trust? Right? When did you experience your first loss of trust? Anybody? I'm going to also put the guest link up, right? And we need to stay on topic. All right. This is the topic today. Okay. When did you experience your first loss of trust? Hillbilly said 4 years ago, you lost your first. You had your first. You lost all trust. Oh, Oh, you lost all trust by 4 years old. Because I was like, 4 years ago, it's not that long. Okay, you lost all trust by 4 years old. Anybody else? When is your first experience in losing trust? And who was that experience with? That's a good one, Pat. In a book, A Course of Miracles, ask the question, do you want to be right or happy? Wow. That's a good one. Loss of trust. First loss of trust. Sharon Lee said, only feel the need to be right when it's life-threatening. Otherwise, it's just another person's perception. You know what you say about opinions and assholes, Roy. Exactly. Okay, Hillbilly. Life taught you to trust nothing, but what was the first experience? I want to break it down to that specific. What was the first experience of you losing trust? You know, last week when I asked the question, there was a guy on TikTok, and I will not forget his answer. He said his first loss of trust was when his dad said he was going to come pick him up and he never showed up. That was deep. When was y'all first loss of trust? What was the experience and who did you experience that with? Okay. Ghost said, when I was a kid and learned my dad didn't want to be in my life and didn't even tell my sister and brother about me. If I couldn't trust a parent, I couldn't trust anybody. Wow, Ghost. That shit is deep. How did you grow up with that? Like, that is heavy. You know, your dad didn't want you in his life, and he didn't even incorporate your siblings in your life. Anybody else? What is their first experience in their loss of trust? And how has that impacted your life today? I'm going to tell y'all mine. How does that impact your life today? I'm going to give y'all a minute, because when I tell y'all mine, I might fuck y'all up. And nobody going to want to talk maybe after I finish. So I'm giving y'all an opportunity. Ghost said, just promising myself when I became a father, I wouldn't be anything like him. I love that. But so that helped you gain trust back in your life by being a better example going forward? Hey, Toya. I love that you're here. Johnny's, oh wait, I gotta go up because people are answering. Because when I tell y'all mine, y'all gonna be like, bitch, I don't want to talk no more. Toya said, first loss of trust was from the one person I thought I could trust, my father. We got a pattern going on here. Him always lying and never really being there caused me to stop trusting. Probably why trust is still one of my biggest issues. How does it impact your life today? You know, see, people think that when they get into new relationships and shit and trust becomes a factor, people think that that's new shit. Trust for some people was lost long ago and never regained. And it shows up in their present life on a regular basis. And sometimes people can't connect the dots. Okay? Well, here in my life, I'm trying to connect the dots of why I am the way I am and why I don't trust many people. And I'm going to share that with y'all. My first loss of trust. Thank you, Toya, for sharing that. I know you don't normally join the show like that. So for you to jump on and share that, I appreciate that. Johnny said, I was in elementary school and it was outside of the house. So maybe that's why I don't trust many people outside of my household, especially when it comes to women. You see what you said? Your first loss of trust happened outside of your household. And now it plays out in your current life with the mistrust that you have with the folks outside of your household. Okay? Hillbilly said, death of loved ones, lost loved ones, the rules of nature, all ideologies started breaking down as my eyes opened. Cheryl Lee said, my first experience was like ghost. My mother told me I had a different dad from my siblings. My real dad didn't incorporate me into his other kids' life or demand to have a relationship with me. Wow. How does this play out in your life today, Cheryl Lee? Ghost said, oh no, I still don't trust him. I learned that everyone is different. So everybody gets one chance with me. I can't hold anything against someone for what another person did. That's Ghost. Let me tell you something. A lot of people that are healing and navigating through rebuilding trust have not grasped that concept. So it's a blessing that you have. Thank you for sharing that. Good morning, Juanita. Anybody else want to share, when did you lose your first, when did you experience your first loss of trust? Nobody else? Before I get into my story? All right, so I'm going to tell y'all because, good morning, Kevin. Angel said, I think my first loss of trust was at home. Mom, siblings snooping through my things. And how does that play out in your life today, Angel? How does that play out in your life today? Pat said, when I was 4 years old at my grandmama's house, I saw a picture of my father and a woman. I questioned it. The pic disappeared. I never called him daddy again, but referred to him as my father. How does that play out in your life? Good morning, Mac Diesel. How does that play out in your life today, Pat? Rochelle, that's an honest answer. So many trust issues, not sure when it began. How important is it to know when your trust issues began? I didn't know how important it was until I realized what my first loss of trust was. Toya said, once you lose my trust, that's it. I can't trust you anymore. The apologies are not going to sway me. So no, I will never trust my dad again. I do try to give people a chance, but I'm seriously closed off. How do you work on that, Toya? How does that impact your relationships? Not only significant others, but friendships, relationships with your children. How does that play out in your life? Good morning, Sai. Today's topic is, when did you experience your first loss of trust? And how does that play out in your life? And who played a role in that in your life? Cheryl Lee said, from that point on, the trust is prominent and non-negotiable in any meaningful relationship in my life. So I'm going to tell y'all. Good morning, y'all. I'm going to tell y'all the first loss of trust was my family, right? You know, I talk a lot about not liking my cousins on my mama's side. Mother, and I see how that plays out in your life. Mother said, when I was growing up, my mother told my sister not to talk to me. Thank you, protagonist. Good morning. Give me the thumbs up if you're coming in on Facebook or YouTube. I need the thumbs up. If you're on TikTok, give me the tap the screen for the hearts, okay? Toya said, what relationships? Laugh out loud. It's not funny, but I seriously keep people at a distance. Sad, but I feel like I have to protect my peace. I get it, Toya. And this is the effects of how these things play out in our lives. And we deprive ourselves of happiness and joy because we had a loss of trust that still plays out in our adult lives, that affects our future relationships. right? And some of us wonder, how come we don't let people get close to us? Or how come we don't trust people that we think we need to trust, or they feel we need to trust them, and they don't understand why we don't, right? But my first loss of trust was my cousins on my mama's side. Yeah. I've been trying to talk about my cousins on my mama's side for some years. It is a deep wound that has never healed, right? And my mama don't know the story. She gonna know it today. And Pat, who grew up with my mama, don't know the story. She gonna know it today, right? Or some parts of it, because I'm not gonna get it all out today, right? And my cousins who still peek on my page but don't speak to me, they will see that I didn't forget, right? And so my first loss of trust, and the reason why I have to visit this is because it plays out in my adult life. Summers in Spring Valley, where I lost trust in the people that I'm supposed to have the most trust for or with, my family, right? Summers in Spring Valley, right? Now, I've always said that I always feel that the children get treated by the family based on how they feel about your parents. And my mother clearly stated on here that one of the things that she experienced growing up is her mama telling her sister not to talk to her. So I believe that my mother was always like an outcast to the family, which trickled down to me. And it caused me to be an outcast in my family among my cousins. Okay? And these are people I was supposed to trust. These are people I thought loved me, right? And I was young. My grandparents, my grandfather, who married a second time, lived in Spring Valley, beautiful house, swimming pool, and that's where we spent summers. Okay? I don't remember the age that I started going to Spring Valley, maybe 5, maybe 6 years old. And it was all of my cousins, right? And my aunt who lived there. My mother's, I can't say she's the youngest sister anymore because my dad had an infidelity, and we found out about 15 years or so ago that he has another child who's younger than me. So I'm going to say the second to the youngest. At the time, she was the youngest sister, and she still lived at my grandfather's house. And so we got dropped off there in the summers. And so when did the abuse start? Yeah, my cousins abused me physically, sexually. They sure did. And they are living and they are breathing today. And I remember some years ago when my other Aunt Cookie died. I could say names because I don't give a fuck. My aunt, the one who was the youngest at the time, grown-ass woman now, she sat in that funeral, and it was me, and it was her, and I believe my mother was sitting there. And she looked over at me and she said, "I am sorry for all the things that I've done to you." And I just looked at her. I never accepted it. I never responded. And some people might have looked at me and said, "Why are you like that?" For what happened to me couldn't be a simple apology like that. It couldn't be. The abuse started slow. It started with locking me in the bathroom, making me sleep on the bathroom floor. Started with that. taking away liberties of comfort during my summer stays in Spring Valley. And the more I cried for help, the more I was ignored. Okay? The abuse escalated. It started with being outside in the swimming pool, leaving me, the smallest one, to do whatever, right? Anything to make me miserable in Spring Valley during my summers. But the abuse escalated. It did. It started with my younger cousin at first, but I can't tell her story because it's not my story to tell. But it started, the sexual abuse started. It did. They used to force me to lay down on the bed, and I was young, afraid. Every last one of my cousins, except the young one, the very young one, not going to say her name. Every last one of my cousins participated in this abuse at the leadership of my aunt. That included fingers in my woo-ha, objects in my woo-ha, them laughing and thinking it was cute to stick shit up my pussy as I was a kid. I never told this story, and I'm on here telling this story because fuck them. That plays out in my life today. I don't like them. I don't trust them. And this is why my kid was never close with my family. I don't trust them. Right? And the anger that I've held for so many years, people never understood. People say, oh, that's your family. That's your cousins. You're supposed to love them. They didn't love me. And why? What did I do to deserve that summer after summer after summer until my mother heard my cry? She didn't know. All she knew was I couldn't do it. And I stopped going. And these are my cousins. And when I look at them now today as an adult, it takes every muscle in my body not to do something crazy. So when my mother gave her cruise, when she turned 70, and my fucking cousin, Pat, mother, you don't know what it took for me to be on that cruise with that bitch who was mean to me and didn't want me to share a room with my mom and her because I lost my job. And right away, the trauma that she participated in came back, and it took every being. Because it was my mother's birthday, I held it. But I'm going to tell you no lie, I can't be in the same space with these people anymore. And if a fucking person tells me that they are family, I'm going to cut your ass off too. That was my first experience with loss of trust. How do I get that back? How do I get back something that I lost so long ago? I can't even forget this happened to me. So I want to say for those that are out there dealing with trust issues, sometimes them shits don't come from something that happened in the last relationship or the relationship before, right? Come from a deeper place. And we have to figure out, how do we resolve these trust issues? How do we navigate our lives? How do we let people in? How do we have healthy relationships when we don't trust the very people that we were supposed to trust? Family. And there's a pattern on here. Fathers, mothers, cousins, the motherfuckers we were supposed to trust. Not one person on here said anything about a stranger being their first loss of trust. Do y'all realize that? Do y'all realize that? Okay. That's a piece of my story. Good morning, Ghost. That's a piece of my story that I am working through. It affects me sexually. Well, it did affect me sexually. Like for years, I had a problem with people putting fingers in my woo-ha. And I didn't understand why. Like people be like, oh, I like to be finger popped. And I'm like, what? I hate that shit.
Man, now, mama, I'm gonna say not for them to be mad at you, but be mad at their own mama for not loving them the way you loved your child. So fuck them.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry you had to go through that shit. Like that, like shit like that boils my motherfucking blood.
I don't know, protagonist. You trying to say something? Do you believe people who are sexually disrespected grow up freakier?
Honestly, to be fully transparent, yes.
I'm gonna
And
be
and
honest.
and it's not like it's in them to be that way. It's like no, it's trauma that had them be that way. You know what I'm saying? It's like you actually came far as fuck. Cause a lot of women who were molested as children or whatever be out there, like all the way out there. So now you did your shit.
You know, I was opposite. It affected me differently. It affected me where I didn't search for sex. You know what I mean? Like I was always uncomfortable with sex. It took me a long. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I didn't get comfortable with my body and myself sexually until I was in my 40s. I always felt like something was stopping me from stepping into my sexual, you know, my sexual self. I felt blocked, like mental, like I felt weird about the way people touched me. I felt dirty a little bit, you know, that affected me. And I couldn't put my finger on why I felt like that. It took me time to figure out that I didn't trust that somebody was going to love me and my body in the way that it should be loved because it was treated as an object from a young age. For a period of time, I was an object. That's what I felt like. And so that transitioned into my older self. That's why when people be like, oh, you so sexy, you so this, you so that. And I've gotten that all my life, but they didn't know deep down inside. I'm like, okay, I'm sexy and shit, but I don't want nobody to touch me because I feel weird. Pat said I was the apple of my dad's eye. I love both of my parents very much. How did it play out in my life? I was able to understand the imperfections of my parents, yet love them. Well, I mean, how this shit is playing out in my life, I don't understand anything about my cousins, and I don't like them. Right? And the mere fact is, you know, know, the one question that I have for myself, cousins, if y'all are listening to my show, did y'all fucking forget? Did y'all?
They ain't forget. They ain't forget.
Did y'all think I forgot?
I'm pretty sure they was open, so. But with the way that you act towards them, they know you remember. They know.
Johnny said, I think some grow up either extremes, there can be or don't want to be touched at all. That part, right? I just really truly stepped into my sexual self in the last 10 years. I'm not lying, right? Sexual meaning I'm comfortable with myself. I'm okay with being touched and shit. But that took all of my lifetime just about to get there. Right? I blamed me for so long trying to figure out why did I deserve that? Right? And then I look at my cousins today and I'm like, did y'all motherfuckers even talk to me? Knowing that you used to put your fingers in my pussy, like something is wrong with that.
I will say I've came across this chick that I was talking to for a little bit that had that trauma happen to her when she was younger and was still affected by it in like that day, like up to that day or whatever. And it was like she refused. She just, well, I ain't gonna say refused, like she just wouldn't do it. She just couldn't bring herself to do like give oral sex. You know what I'm saying? Because that was something that was forced upon her when she was young, so it was traumatic for her. And honestly, I don't know if I'm wrong for this or whatever, but I just feel like I couldn't stay there and deal with it. Like I didn't feel like I was the right person to help her through that. You know what I mean? So I just politely, you know, told her and backed off. I was like, man, I just don't think I'm the right person for you. I don't have the mental capacity to actually deal with that and help you because I don't know what the fuck to do. Like I really don't.
That's
I wasn't prepared for something like that.
That's honest. That's honest. And you know what? I wonder if I would have been more honest in my life, what somebody would have said to me. Right? Because, you know, I mean, it's tough to hear a story like this and be the man on the other side. You know, you do have to have a certain emotional intelligence and availability for something like this.
Gotcha, bitch.
Uh-oh, what'd you step on?
No, I swatted this fly.
So yeah, so and the thing is, my aunt still lives to this day, right? And she's in a wheelchair. I don't know, is she still in a wheelchair, mother? As a matter of fact, my mother just spoke to her the other day. And I'm gonna tell you, and God help me, because I'm still a work in progress, okay? But when my aunt got sick, I didn't give a fuck. And that's not right. I know it's not right, but I'm not perfect.
You had every right to feel how you feel.
Not perfect, but I didn't give a fuck. And when people wanted to feel bad for her, I was sitting there like, I don't give a fuck. And so now you know why I didn't give a fuck that your sister ended up in a wheelchair. Right? And now her daughter is in jail and her kids are fucked up because I don't care.
And the bug don't like ugly.
I'm gonna need P to drink some water.
Something.
You said something. That gas is kicking ass over there. I need her to drink some water.
I've been tripping.
It's her asthma.
Oh, she has asthma. Listen, she better pull out the nebulizer. My mother has been on that shit for 4 weeks.
I wish I had one.
Shit. My mother been on it. The allergy. When y'all want to smoke, people on asthma want to smoke. This happens. Right side, y'all need a fucking ambulance. Call a damn ambulance.
Noise cancellation headphones. They because I could get started. I've been being good.
Yes. Oh, yeah. You said 10,000, so she paid you back some because I thought you lent her 15,000. So let me tell you, this same grimy ass aunt borrowed money from my mom, and instead of telling my mom I can't pay you back all at once or whatever the fuck, she claimed bankruptcy and added my mother to the bankruptcy. This is her fucking sister.
Wow.
You see, she said she still owes her 10,000, but she added her to the bankruptcy so she couldn't collect it.
Yeah, let me tell you. I'm the type of person where if you don't give me my money, I'm gonna take my money. One way or another. Either I'm gonna get it out you, or I'm gonna do some shit to you the way you're gonna have to spend your money. Like
Yeah, medical expensive.
I get petted in the bitch. Don't get the fuck. I get petted as fuck. Like, boy, I will come flatten all 4 of your tires and make you pay for 4 new tires. Like, bitch, I'm gonna get my money one way or another. I'm gonna fuck you off just like you put me in a bad position. Like, one way or another. Hey, like, you know, excuse me for being super petty, but like I said, I'm that dude. You know what I'm saying? That wheelchair you got, bitch, that shit came up missing. You got me fucked up. You gonna crawl around this motherfucking house. You gonna crawl around this house.
Wait a minute. You said the wheelchair?
The wheelchair will come up missing and you gonna have to crawl around this house by your arms. You got me fucked up. You got me fucked up. You know what I'm saying? Cause then you owe me $10, $20, like some shit I can let go. Bitch, you owe me 10 bands? Nah, man. You gotta hurt too. One way or another.
I was like, what? And you know, my mother has such a kind heart, right? Because I'm like, she's still talking to her. I'll be like, fuck her. I ain't got, listen, wheelchair, no wheelchair. I don't give a fuck. My mother got a kind heart because I wouldn't be talking to her. Period.
Right.
Johnny said, I know a woman who literally blacks out when she has an orgasm. She was touched when she was young, and now it's like her brain can't process it when she climaxes. It's like her body has to reboot. Wow.
You know, baby, you could be fine and a motherfucker. You could have all your shit together, a 3-story mansion, a goddamn... baby, you pass out on me every time we have sex, I'm finna stop fucking you. Bitch, you are scaring me. Real shit. You are scaring the shit out of me. Regardless of what it's from, I am sorry that you went through that. Don't get it fucked up. Nobody should have to go through that shit.
Yeah.
But that scares the fuck out of me. Like, bitch, you passing out every time? And it ain't from the dick. It's from the traumatic. Nah, baby.
But you see, we had a topic about 2 years ago where we said there was a question: do men help women heal or do they walk away? Right? And so, I mean, honestly, you know, Ghost, I respected your commentary earlier when you said you recognized you didn't have the mental capacity to deal with certain circumstances, so you walked away, and that's okay. Yeah. That's okay to be fucking honest and know that you cannot manage something, right? Because
right for you.
Worse, by lying and thinking you can manage it, you might make the situation worse, add more to her toxic situation. Is.
You gotta walk away. You know what I'm saying? It allows that person and you both to find the person that's meant for you. But also, you know what I'm saying, you don't build up resentment towards that person, or they don't build it towards you. You know what I'm saying? By lying and just sticking around just cause.
I love that, Darren. Darren said, I helped my wife heal. You know, Darren, I wish you were around when that topic came up because, you know, I couldn't get many men to say they, you know, they help their wives heal because it's a lot of work, right? And the reason why we focused on do men help women heal is because we know for a fact that there's women, a population of women out here that'll pick a man up from the ground and add to his build-up game. We got somebody on here that took a whole man out of a tent. The fuck? I'm just the fuck saying. People do dirt than madman when you have the balls to pull their card. Yeah. True. 80% of households are single family. I'd say they walk away. You think men walk away?
No.
Darren said it's tough. I mean, being honest is a lot of people might not have the mental capacity to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have the mental capacity to deal. You know what I'm saying, to handle. I ain't gonna say deal, but to handle nobody with that type of trauma. Man, like, cause I haven't been through that sort of trauma then to that degree, so it's like I can't relate. I can't tell you it's gonna be okay because I don't fucking know. I didn't go through that, and that's some big shit, some deep shit. You know what I'm saying? That changes a person's their entire fucking life. You know what I'm saying? Whichever path that their life was headed on before, that shit is a complete 360 now. That shit ain't nowhere near that. You know what I'm saying? It's totally different. They not going to turn to the left no more. They completely to the right and still hooking a little bit.
Yeah.
I can't, you know, I ain't got it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Juanita, or they act like they don't remember. Like, I often wonder, like, if I come across my cousins again and I just be rolling up and I roll up to them and be like, y'all remember when y'all used to stick shit up my pussy? I wonder what they would say.
How old were they?
Okay, so they're all different ages. So
Not you.
the youngest, 5. They're about 2 years and up above me. So if I was 6, they were 8, 9, 10, like that. Followed by my aunt, but it happened year after year after year.
They
So we
remember.
got older and older and older, right?
Yeah, that's what Juanita just said. They remember. They just hope you don't bring it up. But no, they remember.
They just hope I don't bring it up.
I remember. I mean, I remember shit back from kindergarten to the first grade. They remember.
Especially an experience like that, and especially the fact that it happened every summer. It wasn't something that happened once. It happened every summer, multiple times throughout the summer.
But see, but then that makes you question, what the fuck y'all out there doing right now as adults? You know what I'm saying? Like, if y'all were like that as children, what the fuck are you doing now? You know.
I don't know. They seem to be having decent lives. You know what's so funny? I grew up angry because one of my cousins, right, became a crackhead, right? Had her kids. She was a crackhead and a prostitute on Hunts Point in the Bronx. Anybody know what the Bronx is? That was the beat. That was where the hoes walked the beat. And she was out there, right? She had her kids, every last one of her kids went through school, educated, got scholarships, and I was scratching my fucking head, and I was like, "Yo, these motherfuckers that abused me growing up. I worked hard in my life, went to school, had my one child, and my son went to jail, did 2 bids. Meanwhile, these molesting folks done been crackheads, got teeth knocked out from their men, and for somehow their lives seem to have turned out a little bit decent. And I'm like, how the fuck did that happen? Right? But I don't know if their life is really decent because we're not close, and what we see is just
It can appear that way. It can appear this. You know what I'm saying, hiding the real struggle.
Yeah.
You know, but it do you do have to think at the same time, like Rochelle, where did they learn that type of behavior from in the first place? You know what I'm saying? Did something happen to them when they were even younger than what it was when they
They were following the guidance of my aunt. So where did she get it from? And why did she?
Your aunt told them to do this?
Yes. My aunt.
Oh wow. You know what?
Told them to do it. And they lined up. Like, I can see it right now. I was on the bed and my aunt would have them line up with different objects, pencil, whatever they found. And each one of them took a jab in my vagina with whatever it is they had in their fucking hand.
I ain't gonna lie. By this time, my auntie would mistakenly, you know what I'm saying, roll down the motherfucking stairs in their goddamn wheelchair.
Oh God.
Yeah, you'd have rolled your ass.
Wait, oh God.
Straight up. Real shit. Like it'd have been an accident. You'd have accidentally rolled your ass down the motherfucking stairs in that wheelchair already by now.
We don't live in the same state. My aunt has they moved from Spring Valley to Florida, and that's where they were living. And so I never had access. Once I stopped going to Spring Valley, I disconnected from them. And so anytime I saw them, it would normally be a funeral or some shit like that. But, you know, I ask myself on a daily basis, right? What would I say to them today? What would I say to them today? Because you know what? I promise this on every bit of, I promise this on every bit of my soul. I'm going to say something to them.
You need
It
to.
took me a long time to talk about this out loud, but I knew once I got it out that it wasn't going to end here, right? Because I am going to say something to them, okay? And I know for sure they're going to act like it didn't happen. And so I hope for my sake and theirs, it don't become physical, because if these motherfuckers even try to act like I'm lying, I don't know what I'm going to do with myself.
Has either one of them ever found you on social media and like reached out to you as far as
Tell me, they know where I am. They're not distant. They live right here in the fucking Bronx. They're not distant. They know where the fuck I am. One of them watches my stories on a regular basis. They know where the fuck I am. We're right here.
yo?
They got my phone number.
I thought they were like the aunt and was
No, the aunt the aunt was raised was the youngest. So she lived with my grandparents because she was the product of my grandfather's second marriage. So she lived with them. The rest of the aunts and stuff was grown. My mother was grown. We lived in the Bronx. We lived in Queens. My other aunts lived in the Bronx. Everybody kind of lived where they lived. But this aunt lived with my grandparents. And so when my grandparents moved from Spring Valley, New York, she moved with them to Florida. And so our summers, you know, stopped because we wasn't going to Florida every summer, and my mother had already stopped me from going to Spring Valley, New York, because I kept telling her that I was unhappy there, right? But she was the only one that lived with my grandfather. The rest of us, we're here.
How many aunts do you have?
Okay, my mother's side, my mother has 3 sisters. So it's my mom, Renee, Sarah is the newfound one from the infidelity, and Janet. So it's 4 of them. My mother has 3 sisters, no brothers.
Okay, and how many of them grew up with you? Like you grew up around?
All of them grew up with me except for Sarah, because we just met her like 15 years or so ago.
Okay, so 2. So people out there in New York or whatever, or like the area that you're from and that you're on or whatever, like they know your cousins.
Do
Like
people
they grew up with your cousins as well.
who?
The people in your neighborhood. I mean, like they grew up with you.
Well,
and
I didn't
like,
grow up
like,
in the
have a
same
mutual-
neighborhood. I didn't grow up in the same neighborhood with them because my mom left the Bronx when I was in kindergarten, and my cousins and them grew up in the Bronx. I grew up in Queens, so we didn't live in the same neighborhood. Oh, but yes, one of my cousins, yes, absolutely, one of my cousins who grew up in Queens. Okay, she and I share the same people. We know the same people, but they don't know what my cousin did to me.
They about to.
I didn't say her name. Yeah.
It don't matter.
It don't matter. I said my mother's side, so everybody know my mother's side.
Broke down. There's only 2 out of 3 aunts. There's only 2. You know what I'm saying?
And you know what's crazy?
And you just said that your cousin was a she. You just put that out
I
there.
don't have any boy cousins on that side.
So you know what I'm saying? So they know. They know. They know now.
And it was all of them. So
And you know how news travels in the hood.
And you know what's crazy? Actually, I'm lying. I had one more aunt, Cookie, the one who died, but she was a married-in aunt. Cookie died, so her kids was involved. I'm telling names now. I don't give a fuck. Cookie died. Her kids was involved.
In that?
Huh?
In that?
Yes. But she's my aunt. That aunt is dead. But her kids are alive. One of her children were involved. Not all of her kids. One of her children, because the other children were young. One of her children were involved, and then my other aunt, both of her kids was involved.
Because whoever the oldest on that, and that's it. That's who did it.
Yo, personally, man, I would say I can't rush your process. You know what I'm saying? Everybody processes with how they deal with their trauma is different. But I would say, you know, you took a big step forward to that.
Look what Cheryl Lee said. That's a good point. How can I get them registered as sex offenders?
And this is why I say I don't want to rush your process. You know what I'm saying? Me personally,
Yeah.
I feel like if I reach the point to where I can talk about the situation and what happened to me, I'm name dropping first and last names because I want you to know who the fuck these people are. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not gonna hide it because you have my name now, you have my face as well. Because I'm telling my story, what happened to me. So I want everybody who was involved to be known. You know what I'm saying? So like I said, I can't rush your you know what I'm saying, your healing process. You know, take your time, do what you do it at your own pace. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I'd have been name dropping like motherfucker, so ain't nobody here got to guess about who the fuck it is. You know what I'm saying? Maybe somebody on here just might happen to know one of these people. You know what I'm saying? But don't know that they're your cousin. You feel me? So no, and so like I said,
yes, Deb, there were girls doing this to me. No boys, all girls. I don't have a boy cousin on that side.
Do you think, you know, do you think that's a like your trauma is a possible reason why you're kind of into girls now?
I don't know.
Have you always felt attracted to women as a kid?
No. No. My thing with women started when I was in my 30s, when a woman approached me at work. Other than that, I never been with women like younger than that. Like my first experience was after I got divorced.
I'm gonna mute my thing real quick until this trash truck get finished doing what he doing.
Oh, Juanita said, drop that name. They know who they are. My mother only got, there's only a handful of us on that side. And you know what's crazy? And so this is why I can now admit that we've had 2 family reunions in Barbados, right? And people often wonder, how come I never go to the family reunion? For what? What the fuck am I going to the family reunion for? So now for all of y'all that wonder, how come Robin and her mama don't go to Barbados to the family reunion? For what? To celebrate what? Sex offenders? I'm not proud to be in a family with them. There's nothing to celebrate. Period.
Patricia, the adult was there telling them to do it.
Pat. It was my aunt guiding them to do it. That's where the adults were. And when I went and complained to my grandparents, of course, I didn't say, oh, they're sticking objects up my woo-ha. I said, I went and complained to my grandparents that I was being mistreated, and they just thought I was being a whiny little girl and told me to take my little ass upstairs. Right? Because they felt like we were in the care of my aunt, who was the adult leading the circus. That's where the adult was.
I mean, still protagonist, I will say, as a part of healing. You know what I'm saying? To get the entire story out with every detail. You know what I'm saying?
I know, mother. And that's why I never told you. Because back then you were too gangster and you probably would have poked a couple of your sisters up. And I'm like, man, I was scared because I knew what the fallout was going to be. I mean, back then, this is when they used to spray paint my mother's name on the walls, TT Smoking. Her name was on the buses, on the walls. She was hanging out with the gangbangers. And so you tell my mother some shit like that, some shit is going to pop off. And so it was very scary for me. That's true, Zen. But it was a good question. People just trying to understand. But that's a good point. Juanita said these people have probably molested their own children and grandchildren. I hope not.
And then I'm just saying, I asked because it was a possibility. You know what I'm saying? And if I didn't know, that's why I asked.
I get it. I get why you asked the question. It's the same question when people come across and they say, you know, some people believe that people that were molested grow up and become molesters, right? Just like you said earlier, some people that were molested, sometimes they turn into nymphos. You know, we don't know. So it's a question. We don't know what triggers various reactions from other people, you know? Hello, Robert. So that was my first experience with a loss of trust. And to this day, you know, that affected how I raised my son again, because he doesn't even know this. So if he hears this, he's probably going to freak the fuck out. I didn't even think about that part. But that was the reason why I didn't really like anybody watching my son, because I was like, you know, people be like, oh, leave your kids with family. Really? What? I didn't trust that shit either.
I will say, Rochelle, I agree with that, but I'm going to say they need somebody in the middle. You know what I'm saying, like a counselor there or something, like to talk about this together. I wouldn't leave them alone in a room to do that by themselves. It's not gonna come out good.
Rochelle, I'm gonna be honest with you and have a conversation. When I come in the room with this, it ain't gonna be like a round table discussion. It's not gonna be one of them sessions where everybody gets a moment to speak. It's not gonna be that way. I'm saying that today. Ask me again in another year. Ask me in 6 months. Ask me in 5 years. But I do know that I'm getting to the point where I will confront them, because fuck that. You're gonna know that I remember, and I'm going to make sure you understand how much I remember, so that every time you see me, you hear my name, you know what I know, right? And when I tell it, I'm going to make sure everybody in the family knows too, right? So that they can understand why I don't fucking want to be bothered with them or their mamas, right? And why I blame the mamas, and let me tell y'all something. I love my one of my aunts, where both her kids was involved. I love her. And I truly believe she stopped joining my show because she knew I was going to tell the story. She doesn't know the details of the story, but she knows her kids are involved. And she hasn't been on my show for over a year. And it's because for that long, I kept saying, oh, I'm going to talk about what happened in Spring Valley. I'm going to talk about what happened in Spring Valley. And she know her kids. She might not know what they did, but she know it's not going to be a good story, and she ain't been on here since. I'm sorry.
But not sorry.
But get your kids. Most people, right, Juanita, most molestation cases start in the family.
What? Just say, they'll go crazy behind somebody touching on some kids. Oh nah, but we don't play games like that. We ain't doing that. I wish a motherfucker would touch my kid or any kid around me. Let me see, even a kid I don't know. Oh, say, nigga, I don't like this shit. Like that. That's disgusting, bro. That's nasty.
Yeah.
Like, what makes you want to touch a child? A child. Like, boy, do you know how good grown pussy feel? Especially, oh.
Thank you, Johnny. It works. He said, I'm sorry this happened to you, Raw. I remembered a couple of years ago when you couldn't talk about it. So congratulations on reminding us to be mindful of all people, period. Yes, it's been a long time I've been trying to bring this, but I'm committed to my healing, and I'm committed to having healthy relationships. And I know that I need to work through these obstacles and these objects. Let me tell you, my last relationship, I felt bad because his daughter, when I was dating my ex, she was about 2-3 years old. And so at a young age, kids still want to sleep in the bed with their parents, right? And so when she came over, she'd want to get in the bed with me and her dad. And I was like, absolutely fucking not. And he was like, how could you be so mean? And it wasn't that I was being mean. It was my own trauma. So, I mean, I want to apologize for that because I felt like I didn't want her to get in the bed. I was scared that somebody might tell a lie or a story and it was just be based on my own trauma. I just didn't want to have the contact with somebody else's kid in the bed with me.
Man, my daughter slept in bed with me growing up like all the time.
Right. If it was my kid, that's different. But I didn't want another woman's child in the bed with me. That's what was the issue for me. My child, yes.
No, we don't do that.
Exactly. And so being with a man that had a small child, it was hard because I'd be like, no, go lay in the other bed with her. Right. And it wasn't that I didn't want her in the bed, but it was just my own fears. Like I was like, no, I don't want this. I don't want no misunderstandings.
Straight up. Like none whatsoever. Because when some shit like that get out there, ain't no going back. It ain't no going back, even if it ain't true.
Exactly. You can't. Those are the kind of allegations you can't. You guilty. You're not guilty.
And you can't bounce back from it, even if it's proven that you're not guilty, even that you just completely innocent. You know what I'm saying? If they came out later and said, "Man, well, I lied. I just didn't like him because he told me that I couldn't go here or whatever the case may be." Like what? So nah.
You see that, y'all? I dated a guy who would get triggered about my son wearing just his underwear in the house because of his past abuse.
Like, well, yeah, that too. You know what I'm saying? That too.
Yeah. I'm gonna tell y'all that's one of the reasons why I can't masturbate in front of you. Like, you know how guys be like, I want to see you masturbate. I want to see you play with your shit.
Yes.
And in my head, I'll be like, go get it. Go play with that shit. But then honestly, I get that vision of those girls lined up and me laying there and me being watched as people are putting shit in my vagina. And that is the vision I get when somebody be like, play with that shit. I be like, I can't do it. And that fucks me up because I could play with myself by myself, right? But if you're watching me, it takes me somewhere.
Yeah.
And that's fucked up. That's fucked up. Right? How shit that can happen to you when you young could fuck you up in your life. Okay? And so it puts me in a space and I'm angry about it a lot. And I'm angry every time I see one of my cousins look at my story and I'm like, why the fuck are you watching my stories? It pissed me off being on a cruise with her and not being able to punch her in her whole face because it was my mother's birthday. Now, she a correction officer. She probably could have held her own, but we would have been fighting and kicked off in some island somewhere.
She said, "Well, you go correction officer at?"
Not me, her. Oh, she was at Rikers. She retired now. She's in Georgia. See how I'm still telling the story, so she know who I'm talking about now. She's in Georgia now, retired.
Okay.
But she used to be in Rikers. Yeah. What did protagonist say? Is that the case? Sometimes I refer to Zen's comments that attraction to the same sex isn't always because of sexual abuse or trauma. Sometimes it's truly their sexual preference.
Well, see, no, he said that it don't come from that at all. He just saying like, you like it.
Okay.
And I didn't know if it was a possibility or not, and that it could stem from that. So that's why I had asked.
Yeah. Okay.
Good morning.
You said you think you would address it with her. You mean with them? It's like 5 of them motherfuckers. Whole family. It's the aunt. Let me think how many cousins. 4 and the aunt.
Okay.
4 and the aunt.
Okay, did the aunt do it too, or did she just line them up?
You know, it's very vague when it
I
comes
call Amazon to tell them. Real shit, I ain't gonna lie.
It's-
I call, boy, say.
Oh, mother. She worked for Amazon now. Okay, I didn't know that. It's 4 cousins, and you know what? I'm trying to remember if my aunt physically did it. It's vague. Like, you know, it's so I remember the objects going in. I remember them lined up, but it's like when they get close, like when the act actually happens, the faces become blurred. It's so fucked up, right? It really is fucked up. So I can't say exactly whether she stuck an instrument in my woo-ha, but I could say that she instructed the cousins to do it. Pat, right. You took who under my molester? You took the molester under your wing. Or me. Because I hung out with you on a cruise too. See, Pat said it's so healthy for you to talk about it. Okay, now I know who you were talking about. Damn. Her and the rest of them, Pat. All of them. Over there. Pat and my mother grew up. So Pat knows exactly the cousins I'm talking about. Ooh, she works for Amazon. That is mother. I gotta pee. I can't hold it, y'all.
I'd have made life hell. But I'd have called Amazon and told them such and such used to do X, Y, and Z. I say, man, I'm gonna make your life hell. You gonna be hard for you to survive. It's been hard for me growing up. Make it hard for you to survive now. I have to. I gotta get some sort of payback. You know what I'm saying? Me personally, I believe in getting even, like I do, because there's no such thing as karma. It ain't. I can't wait on the universe to do shit. Because if there was such thing as karma, bad shit wouldn't happen to good people. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna create it. I'm going to get even. And I'm going for your jugular. I'm telling you, I'm going for your motherfucking jugular. I'm looking to get you to the point to where you think about taking yourself out of something. Like, man, I want you to lose it all. I want you to lose everything.
Yeah.
Man, your house, your car. Man, I want you to be a crackhead. Like, I want you fucked off. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want your life bad.
Oh, their life was not pleasant. I mean, they had a rough life growing up. You know, I don't think, you know, like the cousin that was on the cruise, she can't keep fucking man to save her life, right? My other cousins, they've, like I said, one was a Hunts Point prostitute. The other one got all her teeth knocked out by her man. They had a rough life. My aunt, who led the molestation parade, she's in a wheelchair. So they've had all kind of karma happen to them. Okay, Robert says slightly off subject. From all lawsuits checked, related up to 30% of people, especially males who are gay, were sexually abused. Okay, good information. So it's possible, you're saying, Robert, based on stats, right? Pat said I did not know it. You all went to the beach and she stayed behind with me. We met up with some of my friends in Bermuda. Right, Pat. The reason why she stayed behind with you is because I was 5 seconds from wanting to punch her in the face, right? And my mother had a big argument with her on the cruise because, you know, my mother was already on edge because I had lost my job, y'all. And my mother was giving a birthday cruise and I couldn't afford to go. And my mother said, well, you can stay in my room with the molester. Okay. And you only have to pay tip. Right. And I said, okay, that'll work. Well, the molester said no. She didn't want me in the room with her and my mom. Okay. And so my other aunt came outside of her room with her kids. This is the aunt that I like. Not her 2 kids though, but I do like her. She came outside of the room with her kids and she called me on the phone and said, I booked a separate room and I'm paying for your trip. My aunt paid for me to go on that cruise so that I could be there for my mother's birthday. All right. And so on that cruise, I was already pissed off with that. My mother was already on edge. So my mother had a big fight with the molester. And so, Pat, that's why she didn't hang out with us on the cruise. And that's why you were able to take her under your wing, because nobody wanted to be fucking bothered with her. That's why. She said they are watching your show on the DL and why they want to make sure you don't say nothing about what happened. You know, it's funny because, you know, it's interesting because I had posted a couple of memes talking about summers in Spring Valley. And that's when I realized my cousin started watching my story. And so, you know, I'm trying to figure out if they think that, oh, let me keep watching her story to see if she's going to tell it and see if she's going to mention our names. No, I'm not mentioning your names. People on here that I grew up with better know my mother's nieces. Right. So Robert said, yes, ma'am, at Robin. Just interesting. And possible still correlation doesn't necessarily mean causation. It doesn't necessarily mean, you know, you will be attracted to the same sex because of what happened, but it is a possibility. I get it.
I'm with it. I'm with it. I'm with it.
Mm-hmm. I know I am Jacinta, but the day I bring it out, and I don't know when I'm going to bring it out because I'm never in their space.
Man, no, I'm saying we really ain't got to do that. I'm telling you, let the name drop go public, and life will happen for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm talking about with our first name, last name,
address,
and whatever information I know about you, I want to make sure the world knows specifically who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Whatever you may go by at the moment.
Man, what your nickname, all that.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, I almost wonder what, and the thing is, blessings for them, not blessings, but I'm going to say blessings for my aunt and uncle, rest in peace, that they never had to find this out.
Mm-hmm. Think about it from that perspective. Yeah.
You know, that particular aunt and uncle. My other aunt is still alive. Like I said, that's probably why she stopped joining my show, because she knew something was coming. She just didn't know when. Right. But my other aunt and uncle, rest in peace. Right, because they don't want to know what they will probably be like, what the fuck? Right? You know? But I want to say this, y'all. The reason why I'm sharing this for multiple reasons, but ultimately, be careful who you leave your fucking kids with.
For real.
Right? I don't give a fuck if they're your family.
Especially family.
Because I asked a simple question on here today. When did you experience your first loss of trust? And people came on here, my dad, my mom. I came on here, my cousins. Mm-hmm. Family.
And
I posted a video the other day where the lady said, let's normalize not telling people that it's your mother, it's your father, it's your cousins, forgive them. Let's stop that bullshit. We know that we have to love people for where they are, but when people instill trauma on you so deep, they need to be held accountable for it. I don't give a fuck who they are. And I'm sorry that it took me 56, or I'm going to say 51 years, or 50 or 49 years to tell this. And you know, when I watch these stories about Bill Cosby and all these people, and people go, why these motherfuckers wait so long? Mm-hmm. I understand. Mm-hmm. Why these motherfuckers wait so late to talk about somebody touched them? Because you know what? There was a time when you told your story and people didn't believe you.
Or worse.
Or they blamed you for it.
Or that part.
Oh, your mama put your shorts are too short.
Mm-hmm. Or you're fast. You fast.
You're a fast ass, or you bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Why people take so long?
That's why. And not even just that, Robin, but like people take a while to process things, especially trauma that happens to children, because our adult brain can't process the information as an adult. We
Right.
process it as a child. That's why you have difficulty remembering who did what, is because your adult, your 56-year-old brain is processing that at the age that you were when it happened. And so that's kind of why like there's gaps and spaces and you can't recall everything because, and then also our bodies have a way of protecting ourselves, right? So when something traumatic is happening, our brains kind of like shut down. Like this is way too much. Let's take a break. You know what I mean? And our bodies are kind of cool in that way that they self-preserve. But it does create those gaps, and then it makes it harder to recall the information like down the line.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to ask, and I'm a victim of sexual abuse as well, as a child from a family member as well. So I don't want you to take this as like, I want you to know that this is coming from a place of like understanding.
Mm-hmm.
But have you mentioned the ages of these kids that did this to you at the direction of your aunt. Do you ever think that how it's affected them, like how it affected them as children? I think that a lot of times kids are curious. And I'm not excusing the behavior at all.
No, that's a great point.
But I'm just saying that like kids are curious, and especially at the direction, just like you were violated by this aunt, I feel like these kids were violated by the aunt as well. Even though they violated as well, I feel like they were violated as well. Like, do you understand what I'm saying? Like, I'm not excusing what happened to you. I'm not saying that they're not at fault.
Everybody had a trauma here.
They were kids too. Yeah, they were kids too. They were just at the other end of the trauma.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and they were manipulated. They trusted that adult as well.
Mm-hmm.
They trusted that adult as well. And if they realize it or not, they lost trust too. Do you like, I think who can look back at their childhood and not find anywhere where they went wrong? I know I went wrong in a lot of places. I didn't sexually abuse anybody, but I fucked up a lot. And I offer myself grace because I was a child. Mm-hmm. And I can't help but to think like these kids, like to oversimplify it, they fucked up. They fucked up. And should we offer them grace because they were children? The other side to that I also want to mention is that they're adults now. They are adults now. And I am almost certain, I don't know them, but I'm almost certain that they know what the fuck happened. And it is their responsibility and it's their responsibility. The onus is on them to come to you and apologize as an adult. Like, listen, I am sorry that this happened to you. I'm sorry that I did it to you. And just offer that. Like, you're owed that, Robin. You are owed that.
I think, and Angel, I'm glad you said that, right? Because Johnny, asked the question, would they have done this without the direction of my aunt? Probably not. Probably not. Right. They probably would not have done it without the direction of my aunt. And my anger lies with my aunt, right? This is why when she apologized to me that day and my mother was sitting right there, I couldn't accept it. I couldn't even, and I didn't give a fuck. And I couldn't tell my mother at that moment why her apology meant nothing to me. It actually made me more angry because she tried to give me a general apology. And I was like, fuck you. No, I need you to say, I am sorry for sexually abusing you. I am sorry for this, and that. You're not going to get away with a general apology like you ran over my toe with your bicycle. No, bitch. That's not going to happen. And for my cousins, the reason why I'm angry with them is because of shit like the cruise, like you still acting like a bitch. Like I could fuck you up right now because you know what you did. And so I feel like even us as an adult, when you still acting cold and you still acting shiesty and you still acting shitty, that's where my extra anger comes in, right? And also when I get around my cousins, right? Even though, like, I know I walk around with this in the back of my head, and I'm pretty sure that it might pass their brain cells. Oh, I know I did some shit to her, whatever. I'm hoping she don't remember. And
Right.
they keep here and they laugh, and it pisses me off.
Mhm.
And so the thing with me is I avoid doing anything and being around them. I don't really give a fuck about them. I don't have any good juju when I'm around them, right? Because I
The
feel like
energy is off, right?
right to laugh in my face.
hmm
It's
And
just
you are 100% entitled to that feeling. You are, however the fuck you feel about it is how you feel, and you're 100% correct to feel however you feel about it. I just wanted to offer a different perspective
And I
that
love that perspective because you're right. They
these
were
were
kids
kids
too.
I
But
didn't think
we're
about it.
adults now.
Yep.
I ain't
And
think
we've
about
been adults. And they're older than me. They're in their 60s.
And you said that some of them, like, they have fucked up lives, right?
They had, but they got them
Yeah.
together. One was a
Okay.
prostitute. One got teeth knocked out. The other one retired corrections and now works in Amazon.
Think about it. Think about it. Unresolved trauma. It shows up. It doesn't fucking go away. If you don't fix it, it doesn't go away. So it's going to show up in different aspects of your life until the universe has a way of reteaching you the same lesson until you fucking learn it.
Yeah.
Like you're going to keep getting it. So I wonder, like, if some of the choices that they made as children, and then some of the choices that they made as adults in not addressing what they did as children, have
Mhm.
affected their lives currently.
Maybe.
We all
Maybe.
need help.
But
We
they
all.
still get these hands though.
Hey, I wouldn't even
That
be mad at you.
don't
I
sound
wouldn't even
good.
be mad at you.
Like,
And you know what? It might take that, Robin. It might take that. They may not understand the depth of the trauma. They may not get it. But if you reach the point to where you are physically violent with them, they might be like, "Oh shit."
This is my fear. Having a conversation with them and them denying it. That's going to take me to levels that, you asking me to risk my freedom.
Mhm.
Don't fuck with that is my fear. Like, these motherfuckers that smiled in my face throughout their adult years, never not one of them came to me and said, you know what? I know some shit happened.
I remember, and I'm sorry. Yeah.
Not one.
Yeah, that's tough.
But my aunt, right before she had some kind of stroke or some shit and ended up in a wheelchair, tried to apologize. No. Why? Because you lay here and you're looking at your sister in the thing, and so you're trying to give yourself peace. Fuck you and your peace.
Mm-hmm. The long way.
right. Yeah, I want to say off topic real quick. That's a big ass TV, and I like that shit.
Oh, it's a screen.
Oh,
it's a
it's a
projector.
screen movie.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. So, guys, I really appreciate you listening as I unpack that today, because that was deep, and a lot of us, like in my journey to have healthier relationships, I'm trying to unpack my trust issues. And that's a big thing for me. That's a big deal for me. And I want to do better, and I want to be more transparent, and I want to get to the point where I'm able to address this with them maybe one day. And even if I never address it with them, I want to be comfortable knowing that I can speak this truth out loud, because it took me a really, really, really long time to speak this truth out loud. And I hope that someone takes this story, this truth that I told, and if they're going through some similar situations, they have the courage to be able to heal through it. Or if you recognize shit that's going on in your house with your kids, around their cousins, around their siblings, please pay a fucking attention, right? Because we put so much trust in our family members, in our friends. neighbors. They'll be like, oh, that's my neighbor and her child's gonna watch my daughter, and it's okay. We've known each other for a long time.
I don't think I could, like, after something like that, Juanita, I don't think I could ever get to the point to where I would be comfortable being around them. You know what I'm saying? Comfortable enough to probably have that conversation, yeah, but to want to be around them after that, no. Like, I forgive you, but I never forget it. You know what I mean? So I mean, I couldn't be around you no more. I mean, I still wouldn't want to hang around you and be all buddy. That's dead. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. You're welcome, y'all. I'm trying to process the shit myself. I still be shaking my head. Like, sometimes I look at these kids and I'm like, who the fuck want to stick shit up a kid's woo-ha? Like, that don't even make fucking sense to me.
I see the word coming out a lot today since we had said something earlier, but I personally don't believe in karma. Like, I don't believe in karma. You know what I'm saying? I feel like if karma was real, bad shit wouldn't happen to good people. You know what I'm saying? It's just life. Some people's life just get fucked up more than others. And some people just happen to deserve it more than others. You know what I mean? But I don't believe in karma. You know what I'm saying? Life's just life. Bad shit happens to every fucking body. No matter how good of a person you are. You know what I mean? No matter how much you try to stay out the way, shit still finds you. Because it's life.
Uh-huh.
You know what I'm saying?
Robert, 7 to 12, and then every year from there. So maybe it happened like 3 years in a row until I stopped going. So start from 7 to 12 and add a year onto there for 3 years. About. Yeah, that's a good one. You know, I love the different perspectives.
Yeah.
You know, we put words and phrases to things. I talk about that all the time, like these words and these phrases that, you know, it just summarizes, you know, that shit can come around, that life. That's all that means.
It do, Johnny.
I had my ex, I had shared with him what happened with the family member that molested me as a child. And this family member I still interact with. Maybe like once every couple of years, I'll see him at like a funeral, a wedding, like a get together, family reunion or whatever. I am like high and by with him. Like I don't have conversations. I don't give a hug. Like, hey, how you doing? And I move around. I shared with my boyfriend at the time what had happened, and he went with me to a funeral. And my abuser was there. And I said, that's him. And he says, can I say something to him? I said, please don't. Like, just be easy, like, whatever. We got to the burial, and the cousin that did this is a fucking weirdo. He's fucking strange, right? He pulled out his camera and he started recording, like, the people, like the crowd, like the family. He started recording the family while they were lowering my aunt's body into the grave. And my boyfriend knocked the camera out of his hand and like went off on him. He was like, you fucking weirdo. Like, it's not enough that you did what the fuck you did, but now you out here recording people while they're mourning, while they're grieving, while they're saying their last goodbyes. Like, stop being a fucking creep. And I couldn't even be mad at him. Like, that's some weird shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, one, I think it's tacky to record anything at a funeral. I think that's in poor taste. But like,
unless you're the hired photographer.
Yeah, right. Even then, like at the repast, you want to take pictures, okay. But at the burial, you want to record people while they snot nose crying and carrying on? Come on now. But I feel like, you know, I'm not 100% sold on the karma either, Ghost, because you brought up a good point. Like, if karma was real, I don't do bad things. Why do bad things happen to me? Like, yeah. Very good point.
That's what I said when my cousin was a hoe on Hunts Point and none of her kids went to jail. I was like, what the fuck? I finished all my education. They the one who poked me up in my pussy. I finished all my education. had my son, still graduated school, went back to school, worked all the way up to my master's, and my son went to jail and did 2 bids. Her kids, scholarships and shit. I was like, what in the fuck? What did I do?
Right. Right. If karma was legit, then the situations will be reversed, right? Just saying.
Because for shit sure, I was like, God, this ain't right. The fuck is going on?
Right, because you can be out the way, not going out, not hanging with nobody, going to work, going home, you know what I'm saying, focus on getting your shit together. And some shit will still happen that's going to fuck you up and stop you or hold you back from reaching your goal. And you ain't been doing shit or fucking with nobody. You've been going to work and going home. That's your only places. Work, home, grocery store. That's it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And shit will still happen.
You hear about it all the time.
Wait, Val said, don't put my pic on Facebook when I'm in a casket.
Like,
and don't put fucking wings on me on a fucking obituary. Don't put no fucking wings on me, please. Up in the clouds. Just put a regular picture of me. The fuck? That's true, Valerie. Her kids' scholarship and shit. Yeah, I was mad, Robert. I mean, I love the kids. They ain't got shit to do with it. But I was like, how the fuck her kids get scholarships and shit to Baruch and get to travel the world and shit, and in 1,000 Men March clubs and shit being mentored by all these fabulous men, and my son doing 2 bids in the Who Scout, and I'm living in great neighborhoods and shit. Like, what the fuck happened? I was mad.
I get it.
Thank you, Valerie. I'm trying. The fuck? Sadly, bad things happen to good people and good things happen to bad people. But I feel God still takes care of those who are trying to do their best. That's just my opinion. I agree. We come down through different walks in life. You know, I just wish my cousins tripped up a lot more. Right. Fucking obituary. Fuck. Y'all don't know if I'm where I'm at.
Did y'all see the meme where it was a picture of somebody and they had them like in clouds or with wings on them, and it was like their birthday or something, and people started commenting on the picture.
A birthday? With wings in the cloud?
Started commenting. They were like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry for your loss." Like it was like an adult child posted this picture of their parent. And they were like in the clouds or something. And it was a birthday post. But you know how people don't read? But they just saw the picture and it looked like a fucking obituary.
Because I'm going to see y'all when I'm dead. This is how I feel. Pastor, what happens to you when you're dead? Because I'm going to see. Like for me, don't bury me because I can't breathe and I don't want to be in the dark that long and I don't want shit biting on me, right?
You already did.
I don't give a fuck. I feel like I could feel it. All right. So I need to be burnt and I need to be on somebody's fireplace because I want to be a part of the Netflix and chill. Fuck that.
Oh no.
Fuck that.
Look, when you bury me, just look, put me in a white tee, some jeans.
Oh, burn me.
And some 11s. You know what I'm saying? Don't dress me up in some shit that wasn't really just me. You know what I'm saying? Like I wear suits and shit, you know what I'm saying? Well, like I will, you know what I'm saying? Like I have.
Yeah, you look nice in a suit.
Get into it.
You look nice in a suit.
You do go.
You know, but that's not me whole as a person.
What you want to be buried in? Your motorcycle jacket?
Nah.
A
white tee, some jeans, and some 11s. Some Jordan 11s. You know what I'm saying? And
why not the bathrobe? Fuck all that.
With my chest still out, huh?
Yeah.
No,
yes.
So much.
Right, Shirley, I know. The book we're reading. Yes, the book we're reading. That's a good point. You know, I'm gonna make a point to have a little book discussion while we're in Cancun as well.
Real shit.
My mom's little sister in my family. Only one person is buried in my family. We cremate because the fuck carry us around.
Yeah. We cremated my grandmother and scattered her ashes.
We wanted to scatter my grandmother's ashes in Bermuda, but Bermuda said, fuck y'all. Oh, and those. Okay. Bermuda said.
Like
It gotta
6
be the
different
indigo
colors. I got
color.
like 6 different colors of these motherfuckers. I want all
My
of them.
Bermuda was like, fuck y'all, we don't do that here. You ain't messing up our waters with ashes. So we still have my grandmother's ashes, and her family has a mausoleum. So they're gonna eventually, when we get back to Bermuda, or somebody get back to Bermuda, because my uncle has the ashes, he's gonna open up the mausoleum and put it in there with her sisters.
Mm-hmm.
They're all from Bermuda.
Man, you build my casket yourself. Like real shit. Like I'm going in the ground any fucking way.
Listen,
You know what I'm
burn.
saying? You could build that motherfucker yourself. You ain't gotta buy one. Real shit. Go to Home Depot, you know what I'm saying? Get some 2x4, a little plywood, you know what I'm saying? Throw that shit together.
I don't want my kids to spend no money on no funeral.
Exactly.
I don't. Like, you could create whatever's cheapest. Hey, y'all could say you don't know me.
Wait, Johnny, don't judge me. Because once you burn me, I'm gonna get that pain off real quick.
Right.
But if you leave me in the ground, I gotta relive that ground shit day after day after day after day. I want to be burned. Let me just burn, holler, and scream, y'all burn me up real quick.
Dead. You will be deceased.
Me.
Gone.
Man.
No feeling, no thoughts, no nothing. Gone.
No, don't say that.
I
Like,
feel like we feel it.
I don't know. I think, you know what I think? This is honestly what I think. Somebody asked me, they were like, because I talk about death and like I'm not afraid of it. Like I'm okay with it. And somebody was like, aren't you afraid of dying? Like, isn't that scary to you? I'm like, fuck no. Living is scary. Life is fucking hard. Death is hard for everybody else who's still here.
Yeah.
I'm saying, man, I would say people are afraid of death until they actually face it. You know what I'm saying? Until they actually have been face to face with it.
Good
You know what I'm
point.
saying? Like my first motorcycle accident. If I was to go out, I would want to go out that way. Like I ain't feel shit. I ain't remember shit. I didn't know the shit happened until I woke the fuck up the next day. You know what I'm saying? Like if I was to go, like let me go pain free like that. You know what I'm saying? I didn't feel that shit. You know what I'm saying? But it's like after that, oh nigga, you know, it is what it is. It is what it is.
Robert, no. Oh my God. Thank you, Robert Powell. You know what? I don't know. Robert Powell, are you Robert J? Are you Robert J on here? Because I just want to say I never ever scroll my Cash App. And somebody just sent me a Cash App donation for the content on this show. And I really appreciate that shit, y'all. Because I don't share my Cash App. But you know, I appreciate that. Thank you, Robert. I think it's the Cash App says Robert Powell, so I'm assuming it's you, Robert J. And I want to thank you. Thank you for that.
Okay. Did y'all watch Gods of Egypt yet?
I didn't watch Woodsman. I'm gonna look for that though. What is Woodsman about? What did you say, Ghost? Because Robert asked if that is you. Thank you, Robert. I appreciate. I think this is your second time sending me a donation, so I appreciate that. Yes, it was sweet. I gotta watch The Woodsman. What is The Woodsman about, Robert? Is the Woodsman the one where the boys got molested in the group home by the pastor, by the priest? Is that what The Woodsman is?
Let me look it up.
Yeah, look it up real quick, Angel. The Woodsman.
But I said, have you looked up the movie Gods of Egypt yet? Have you watched that yet?
I've watched Gods of Egypt.
I have not. I've not even heard of it.
I've watched Gods of Egypt. What's gonna be your point?
What point this is yeah.
About the boys that was molested when they were young in a group home, right?
Well, a convicted child molester returns home to Philadelphia after serving 12 years in prison.
Yes. That's it. That's a good movie.
But I forgot what my point was. Somebody said.
Sorry, Ghost, because he said the first. But the Gods of Egypt. What about the Gods of Egypt?
Right.
I forgot what my point was of saying it. It was because somebody said something, or you said something about something that made me think of it, but I just can't remember now.
I'm afraid of death because I haven't finished the trust for my kid, and my will is outdated. I'll feel better about dying once that's complete. I got to get my shit together too. Oh my God, you've been binge watching Evil. Thanks for that link, Raw. That was Johnny Leon Hill too. Oh no, That was Ghost. You talking about that movie link?
Oh, you talking about F movies?
Ghost.
Yeah.
Ghost gave us that link.
Where is that? What are we talking about?
He put it in Discord.
F movies HD
Here we go.
.vip. And you can watch every movie and every TV show you want.
Here you go. And some and obviously, there you go.
Yeah.
Put it in your browser. Yeah. All right. So you've been binge watching Evil. I need to get. I'm trying to catch up. I'm behind a couple of seasons. Or is it just 2 seasons they have, or 3? I know I'm behind. All right. Everybody got that link? F movies HD .vip.
It do, don't it? Man, I'm telling you, that shit get on there quick. Shit gets on there quick.
Okay. And she said it works great too. Damn, man, I want to find out how to get it on my TV.
I've been trying to figure that out for real. I've been up to.
If you have a smart TV, you should be able to go like on your browser and pull it up. No.
Sometime, but the browser sometimes they block certain.
That's how I used to pull it up on my PlayStation. Because on the PlayStation, like they have like a browser part.
I have a browser on my smart TV, so
you can put that in and it'll come up.
All right. Oh, 3 seasons. That's what I thought. I'm behind. I only saw season 1 and I started watching season 2. So I'm behind, but that's a good binge watch. So I'm going to get back into that. But guys, I got to run because I got to prepare for a 10:30 meeting with a vendor and I got to have my thoughts together. But thank you guys this morning. You know, I really appreciate you motherfuckers for coming on here and not judging and listening to, you know, some painful, hard truths that some of us have gone through and am going through in our lives. But I truly believe that in order to work through your healing process, you have to be honest about the things that you're healing from, right? And it doesn't always have to be new shit, right? You know, it's shit, you know, reading this book, it didn't start with us. And, you know, it teaches me that a lot of our wounds are deep. Right. And people focus on the now, what's happening to them now. And they're thinking that what's happening to them now has an impact on, you know, their life. That's true. But also what has impacted you growing up affects you too in your adult life. Even when you think you're not thinking about it on a daily basis, you think you forgot about it, you pushed it to the back of your head. But subconsciously, the decisions that you make on a day-to-day basis can be tied into that trauma. And I'm not a life coach and I'm not a therapist. I'm just on here sharing my journey through life and trying to figure healthy ways of navigating things that hurt me. Okay. Without passing on this hurt to other people. Right? Subconsciously. Okay. And so I want to trust again. I don't know how or when I'm going to get there, but I do want to trust again. And a part of that is understanding where I lost it in the first place.
That's the key.
Right? It ain't because my man cheated on me. That's not where I lost my trust.
That's not where it started.
It's not where it started. That was just another tick in the bucket. Right? But I got to go back to the beginning to rebuild, you know, my confidence in healthy relationships and healthy friendships, because I will, if I see anything that triggers me, and now I realize that I might cut a friendship off, I might cut a relationship off, not realizing that I'm linking it to my trauma.
Wow.
Right? And so this is growth, y'all. We got to do this. All right. And so I appreciate y'all for jumping on and lending to this conversation. It was very hard for me to say what I said today. Right. And I'll be still unpacking this tomorrow to be another piece. Right. And we'll continue down this journey because I'm committed to taking this journey. I am. I love, but it competes with my abandonment issue. So if anything, me and my wife, not sure if I would get married again. Isn't that how a lot of people are walking around? More to come tomorrow. How many people are walking around saying, I'll never get married again? It's not because they don't like marriage.
Right.
All right,
Look what
real
Johnny
quick,
said. Abandonment issues.
you can get one of these. You know what I'm saying? To watch it on your TV, if you can't pull it up like through the smart TV on the browser, this right here connects to my phone, and then a HDMI cord to the
Oh
TV.
yeah, I got that on my Mac.
This is for my laptop. You know what I'm saying? This
Yeah.
for my MacBook Pro. You know what I'm saying?
That's a good idea.
So same shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do have that on my Mac, the dongle thing, because you know Apple is funny. Every time they upgrade, they change the little connector, so you know
Another way to make more money. They accessorize
exactly,
every fucking thing.
exactly,
Use this to do this, and the Apple product will work on it type shit.
exactly. They even changed the power adapter thing. Like you can't plug the old
Right.
iPhones. I'm
Yeah,
like,
like you
what?
used to plug the headphones and the charger in at the same time. Now
I
they
know.
broke it down to one, so you got to buy an
One,
adapter.
and they changed it. They made it a mini one, so the old cords don't fit in
Yep.
there.
Yep.
Petty.
See.
Okay, I'm signing off, y'all.
Signing
What
off.
everybody used to say, Kenya used to say a lot that she never get married again. Hey, look at her.
And look at her. Look at her. Well,
Well,
thank
yeah.
you, Angel.
Yeah, have a
thank
good
you,
one.
Rose. We'll have more tomorrow. Again, guys, I love you. This platform is a healing platform. None of us are perfect. We're gonna make mistakes, but I love y'all and I appreciate y'all. I love the fact that, you know, this environment remains to be a safe space, right? And we're able to share our deepest and our darkest moments, right? And we're able to feed off of each other and we're able to work towards that growth, right? So that we can be healthier for ourselves and other people. All right, I fuck with y'all. I do. And with that, I'm gonna send y'all out on some positive vibes. All right, because you know what I say, no matter how,
Even when you feel low, you can still go.
No matter how low,
you feel slow, you can still go.
Yes.
Even when there's no hope, you can still
And
go.
you can.
I never answer to no man.
This is Raw to the Bone. All right, Coffee with Friends. See you tomorrow. Move in peace and love. Get this message on the way out. Hey, what?
Hustle hard, hustle every single day. I'll be making moves till I'm buried in my grave.
Hey,
Feel the system, I don't wanna be a slave.
I've been doing shit my way or the highway.
And in the driveway is a nice range. Cause I grind through the climb, I invite.
Hey,
Baby, you the bitch, now I don't complain. Just gotta flip the switch and you can go another
what?
team.
Anything you want, anything you need. Your mind's got the key ingredient that you need. Hey, with the negativity, but I just slide right by that energy. What?
Even when you feel low,
You can still go, and you can.
when you feel slow, you can still go.
You can.
When there's no hope, you can still go. I
You
never
got
answer
this.
to no man, I still
Peace.
go.
Hey, tomorrow, y'all. I love you. Hey, I'm out.